and not feel so bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Teresa. I
Thank
think
you.
everybody knows you. Do I need to introduce you again? Were you on? Let me see. Where who wasn't on? Let me do that. It might be fair. It would be wrong if I did not introduce you, Teresa. So Teresa is, first of all, a dear friend of mine, and a dear friend because we go all the way back to Spelman College. So we're Spelman College grads together, and we've made our way and matriculated through Richmond together as well. And while
Small
Teresa,
world.
it is a small world, you don't know who you'll find here. But we were in Jack and Jill together, and we remained close and friends. And Teresa really helped me in my own journey in thinking of the way that I looked at eating. I think if Carol's on here, she will remember that we used to go over to Teresa's and learn about holistic health and living. And while Teresa is an excellent IT person, her passion for people led her to her walk and journey with health. Now, you can read all the other stuff on her bio and what was sent out, but I think this is what you need to know. She's very, very passionate about everybody's health. And if I can tell the story, her husband had problems with Voltran. Was it Voltran that went off the market? Was it was a non-steroidal that was on the market that had to be pulled, and when it was pulled, he had to find a way to manage that. And guess who helped him manage it holistically? And he did better than when he was on the medication. Was it Celebrex?
It wasn't Celebrex. It was something, and I think it did start with a V or a B, but it, like you said, it was pulled from the market. It was
Yeah.
pulled from the market. And literally, we were in the kitchen cooking when we saw it in the news. And it's like, aren't you taking that?
Yes. And she helped him, and it was part of that journey and quest that led her to what she does now. And then
That
before you leave, I want you to make sure you tell us all about your podcast and your radio and what you do with that too, so we can become avid listeners. And if you've got information or things that you want us to post over here, let us know, and Japs will post
Sure.
that too. So let's get started.
All right. Thank you so much, Lisa and Japs and everybody else. It's good to see some. I remember some of the faces. Thank you so much. I see Teresa. I don't think you were on the last time, right? Teresa is in we're in the book club together. So I know Teresa. I've known Teresa for a long time too. We
Yeah,
go all
we,
the way back to BDPA,
yes,
like
we do.
a long, long, long way back. I've known her for a long time as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Japs, am I okay to share?
Let me change your settings. Sorry about that. One moment.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
So like Lisa said, I'm gonna talk a little bit about nutrition and where, and how it can impact diabetes. So Lisa said some things in the beginning. Wow, I'm gonna just talk. This is kind of off the cuff, not really part of my presentation, but what you said about the sugars and the pies and the cakes and all these things, right? So how many, by show of hands, believe or have that same thought in your mind that diabetes is caused by sugar?
Oh, it's not just caused by sugar.
So
I found
whose
that out.
understanding is it that diabetes is caused by eating too many cakes and pies?
I used to think that.
Who said they used to think it?
I did.
Okay, well, what's your thought now?
That is caused by lifestyle. It's caused by other things other than sugar. It's caused by carbs and all of that. All the stuff that we really like.
Okay.
I used to think the same way, but then I found out it was the starches I was eating, the potatoes, French fries, and
Okay.
sometimes the meats.
Okay. Anybody else care to share?
I did used to think just the cakes and pies contributed. However, I know differently now that carbohydrates are a part of it, but it's also still those things that turn into sugar that causes it. So it's not just the cakes and pies, but sugar still is in the picture.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Um, what does all of the things that you guys mentioned, like the cakes, the pies, the meat, the fries, what do they all have in common?
Fat,
Other than sugar, other than sugar.
fat,
Carbohydrate.
Fat,
fat.
fat. It is absolutely the fats that saturated fats is what they're saying now is a major contributor to diabetes, believe it or not, because the fat in your blood, it prevents the insulin from doing its thing with the sugar, right? So it's the saturated fats that you got to be worried about, not so much the sugar, right? So, and if you're eating an apple pie, for instance, if you decide to take, no, it's not apple pie for Thanksgiving, pumpkin pie. If you're eating a pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving, there's really nothing wrong with having that because especially if you start with a pumpkin and not with a can. So if you get a pie pumpkin and you bake that pumpkin in the oven and you use the insides of it to make your pie and you use whole wheat to make your crust and you do add some sugar and some cream and some eggs to it, there's really not anything wrong with it because guess what? You started with a whole food. It's all whole. You're eating whole wheat, you're eating the whole pumpkin. And what the thing about that pumpkin pie is that the fiber in it is going to help with the insulin help you it's going to prevent you from having that big sugar spike that you would have. But if you started out with something that's not whole, then you're going to miss out on it. So it's important for your food to have fiber. We're going to get into this later in my presentation. Is fiber is very important, and saturated fat is another thing that you have to watch when you're dealing with when you're dealing with. Give me a second, guys. Let me get my presentation going. We probably should have been doing this instead of bopping to your music, Lisa.
I am so sorry.
I know it's my fault. I should have thought to get this thing
You're okay. You're all right.
going.
So we're back to the ABCs. It's that cholesterol that she's talking about with that diabetes that you're bringing up, Teresa.
That's right.
So, cool.
That's right. So, nutrition really can be plain and simple. And at the beginning, when I joined with Lisa and Jabs, I added this extra thing about the holidays. The goal, and always my goal for during the holidays, is to maintain and don't gain anything. Like, no, don't gain any weight. Don't increase your numbers. Keep everything the same or even better. So what I do is I take my weight prior to Thanksgiving. And then my goal is January 1 to be at that same weight or less. Because during the holidays, we all know that there's that 10 to 15 pounds that people tend to gain. So keep this one in mind. Maintain, don't gain. Okay, so this is my agenda, and we've had a little bit of an introduction already. We're going to talk about what nutrition is and why good nutrition is important. We're going to review the components of nutrition with respect to diabetes. And then there's some special considerations that we should take on when it comes to diabetes. And then I'm going to share some important screenings for diabetics. And then we'll get into questions. I say questions at the end, but of course, if you have questions along the way, please don't hesitate. Please don't hesitate to ask them. And you guys will notice that I'm looking to the side because I have two monitors here.
Teresa, sorry, can you try sharing your screen, please? You should be able to
Oh,
now.
you're not seeing my screen?
No.
Oh, wow. Let me go back. Sorry. Thank you.
Yep. No, I just want to make sure it's working on your end.
Well, yeah.
Okay, there you go. Yep,
there we go.
We're seeing it now. Okay. All right,
Yeah,
thank you.
I missed that little button. Sorry. Here we go. Okay, let's get into it. So, and I'm going to share these slides, so I might not read all the words that I have on them. I'm going to share the slides with Japs, and she'll make sure you guys get it. So nutrition. What is nutrition? What's nutrition to you guys? Oh yeah, it's going to be interactive. I'm going to ask questions. Anybody care to say? Of course, it's on the screen.
Nutrition is taking the foods that we're given to provide the right nutrients for our bodies to be healthy.
Yeah. And for what reason?
Well, our bodies can't function without being
It's really simple, Lisa. You're about to give us a real technical answer.
To live.
To live, exactly. And to maintain health, prevent disease, all the reasons, to enhance our quality of life, all those things, okay? So let's talk about what are macronutrients. These are the components now that make up nutrition, okay? And can just shout it out? At least one macronutrient. Go ahead, Lisa.
Protein?
Yes, very good.
Anybody who has an app, go look at your app if you're counting what you eat. Those are that might help you.
Right. Okay.
Another one is carbs.
Carbs. Yeah. So is that a macro or micro?
I don't know. I count them.
Let's see. Let's see. Okay. So, proteins.
Mm-hmm.
This is why it's what it does. It helps to stabilize blood sugar and it promotes muscle maintenance. Another key thing, I know we're not talking about exercise, but I want to say this about our muscles. After the age at the age of 35 is when we start to lose muscle. At the age of 60 is when that number of muscle loss is exponentially increased. So if you're not doing any weight-bearing exercise right now, you need to be if you're over 60, if you're over 35. So it's very important. So sources of good protein: lean meats, fish, eggs, tofu, legumes. You want to, in moderation, to manage your carbs, and unsweetened Greek yogurt. And this is, like I said, these macronutrients and these sources are specific to people who are trying to maintain or prevent diabetes. Okay. There we go. Carbohydrates.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on the low glycemic index foods to avoid blood sugar spikes. Choose complex carbs with high fiber content. Whole grains, quinoa, oats, barley, non-starchy vegetables like broccoli, spinach, cauliflower, and low GI fruits, berries, apples, and pears. And, this looks really good right about now in this time of year in our area. These are things that we can get locally. We're gonna talk about that too in a future slide. Any questions about that one?
There was a question in the chat, Teresa, that was, why is poultry not included in the good protein sources? Or is it?
So poultry, we're going to talk about that too in a future slide. It is. I mean, you can, but we're talking about if it's lean. So if you eat the chicken breast, because the key, remember, is fat. We want to not eat a lot of fat when we're dealing with diabetes. And so this is specific. Chicken otherwise would not be a problem, but because we're talking about diabetes tonight, that's why you don't see that there. Does that make sense to whomever asked the question?
Many of us eat fried chicken. Many of us eat, even if we broiled it, if we were to eat the thigh versus eating the breast, there's more fat in that, is what you're suggesting and sharing, Teresa, correct?
Right. And if you're eating fried chicken, make sure that's a treat, like once a year. honestly.
Ooh, you mean a rare treat?
Yes, a rare treat.
Mhm.
I'm so serious.
I know she is.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, yeah, just once a year, honestly.
So, I'm sorry. What about the rotisserie or baked chicken, like the white meat? Is that still fat? A lot of fat?
The chicken breast is probably
Yes, yes.
the chicken breast is probably the leanest part, I believe, of the chicken.
Okay, so that's okay.
If you're eating the wings, I think that's the fattest part. I think the thighs come in second,
Mhm.
and then the legs. I think it goes in that order,
Okay.
but all those pieces are high in fat. The thigh, the leg, and the wing. Mhm.
The pieces that taste the best, you mean?
The ones they fight over. Yes.
Yes, because they have all the fat in them, and yep, unfortunately, yes.
Good to know.
So make sure you're eating healthy fats. I'm sorry.
Question about that, because, and I'll give you the thigh, for example. I'm the person that will eat the thigh. I pull the skin off of it and I pull the fat, as much fat off it as I can to get to the lean meat. So does that make a difference? Or is it within within the lean of the meat?
It's within the meat.
Okay.
It's within the meat, yeah. So it is it's healthier than eating the extra fat that comes on it, as well as the skin to pull it off, but still, right. Healthy fats: avocados, nuts, seeds, the chia or flax, olive oil, fatty fish like salmon or mackerel. Okay. Now we're going to talk about micronutrients. Magnesium. This one improves insulin sensitivity. So spinach, almonds, pumpkin seeds, and black beans. Vitamin D helps to regulate the blood sugar and supports bone health. Fortified dairy alternatives, fatty fish, and sunlight. I don't like this one so much, but it's better than anytime something is fortified, that means it's processed, right? So what we want to do is try to eat things in their most natural state. But if you can't get it otherwise, this will do. Chromium plays a role in blood sugar regulation. Whole grains, broccoli, and nuts. Potassium, important for blood pressure regulation, especially with diabetes. Leafy greens, avocado, sweet potato, and portion controlled amounts, right? So instead of a huge one, maybe a half one, eat it half one day and half another day. Fiber. Essential for slowing digestion, stabilizing blood sugar, and improving gut health. Now, this is the goal. This is the goal. This is what is recommended by the American Heart Association. And how many of us eat this many grams of fiber a day?
What's recommended?
Who is willing to share what they had for dinner tonight? Okay, go ahead, Lisa.
Oh, you're doing something else.
Okay, I had salmon and a salad with kale, carrots, cucumbers, and that's what I had, whatever. And I did have the tablespoon of the Panera balsamic vinaigrette, low sodium.
Okay.
Okay. That was my dinner.
Oh, that's very good. What about lunch? I know we just asked about dinner, but I'm trying to figure out I want to see how many grams of fiber you likely had today.
So
did you put it in the app? Did you put your meals in the app?
Yeah, but I had two because I worked through, I told you about my meeting. So I had my Okios fat triple zero,
Yes.
triple yogurt with almonds
Oh, yeah.
in it. That's
nice.
what I had.
Yeah. That Greek yogurt? Is that Greek?
Yes, Greek.
Yeah.
Yes.
Else is great.
Well, you're doing very well. If I'd be surprised if you didn't make your at least 25 grams of fiber, because you've
I'll
had
look and
nuts,
see.
you've had veggies. Pretty good. That's pretty good. Without eating vegetables, it's really hard to make this number, right? So if you're eating bread, if you're eating bread thinking that you're getting a lot of fiber, I want you to check that label. I want you to check the label. It's amazing. Maybe 1 gram per slice, depending on the bread. Now, if it's Ezekiel bread, then it's likely got more fiber because that's a whole grain bread. But make sure you're eating non-starchy vegetables, whole grains, and beans, and controlling the portion, like a half a cup, and nuts. It will help you get to that 25 to 30 grams of fiber as recommended by the American Heart Association. The other thing that's important when you're dealing with diabetes is hydration. It supports your kidney health. You can drink water, unsweetened herbal teas. You want to avoid sugary drinks and limit your caffeine intake. Any questions? Any questions about that? About those? No? Okay. So now, these are all things.
The chicken thigh.
Sorry, what was that?
Sorry, I wasn't on mute. Sorry, Teresa.
No problem, no problem. Special considerations when you're dealing with diabetes. Smaller, more frequent meals, portion control and timing, monitor your carbohydrate intake, work with a dietitian to determine the right carb count per meal. Why did I have that twice? Sorry. Foods to avoid. Foods to avoid or limit. Refined carbs, white bread, pasta, pastries, sugary snacks, cakes, candies, sugary drinks, high sodium foods, processed and packaged foods. You want to avoid them to manage your blood pressure and saturated fat. So to consider reversing diabetes with food, consider a 90% plant-based diet. All the greens you can eat, lots of other vegetables and beans, whole grains, fruits, nuts, and seeds.
Say that one more time.
Consider a 90% plant-based diet if you're not a vegan already. You can eat all the greens you want, all the leafy greens you want. Lots of other vegetables. And beans, this is the one you have to be careful with. Beans, legumes, right? You want to stick to a half a cup a day.
Excuse me, Teresa, is it possible for you to make your slide just a little bit larger?
Actually, it's pretty big.
I can't tap on it yourself.
Yes. You can adjust it on your end because it's pretty big for me.
It's in like your next slide view for us, Teresa. That's how we see it with the slides on the bottom.
Are you seeing the wrong? You're seeing the wrong. Oh my goodness, I'm sharing the wrong screen.
Wow.
Let me stop. Let me do this again, y'all. Y'all seeing you need to see
I had
this.
to tap on it to blow it up and it worked. So
I'm sorry.
There you go. Yeah,
that's better.
Yay.
I'm so sorry, y'all.
blow it up.
We're such a nice audience.
True. I thought you were seeing the this screen and not the other. Okay. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Okay. So 90% plant-based diet, all the greens you can eat, lots of other vegetables and beans, whole grains, fruits, nuts, and seeds.
What about
Okay.
apples and bananas when it comes to fruits?
Okay, so you're gonna need to pay attention to the glycemic index.
Okay.
And when you're a diabetic or pre-diabetic, I think bananas are a no-no. I think it has a high glycemic index. So you want to stick to berries, low glycemic index.
Okay,
fruit.
thank you.
I'm going to tell you what I learned yesterday. Bananas are berries.
Really?
Are they?
Because of the scientific way that they are produced from the one ovary, just like it has seeds. You can see the seeds, and it has pulp. So it truly is a berry, and it has the skin, but it's the wrong berry.
Yeah. That is very good. I love that. I didn't know that. Learn something new every day.
I learned it yesterday. So
Hey, Lisa.
The bananas, I will tell you this, the bananas that they sell in the grocery store to us, even the organic ones, don't have seeds.
Somebody jumped in. Who was it? Sorry.
Hey, it's James Chambers. How you doing?
Hi.
Hey, James. Hey.
A long time.
Yeah. Were you going to make a comment about that? Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things I always tell my clients is, because bananas do have a higher glycemic index, you don't want to eat a whole banana. You can eat a partial, half a banana, or even a third of a banana, and you can also add some healthy fat with it to slow the absorption of that sugar, so it doesn't spike your blood sugar so quickly. Like some healthy. If you don't have any nut allergies, you could add almond butter or peanut butter or something like that.
And
just to
oatmeal,
slow it
like
down.
a high fiber.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So usually protein, my experience at least, usually protein or a healthy fat source will slow down the absorption of that sugar.
Thanks, James. Good to see you. Thank you.
That is correct. But yeah, so the bananas that are sold in the regular grocery stores don't have seeds in them. But if you go to the farmer's market, you can get all sorts. There are so many varieties of bananas. And they come from different countries, of course. And then you see the bananas with the seeds. Okay. All right, let's get back to it. Always eat real, unprocessed food. Some of this might repeat itself, but it's worth repeating. Because you know what? Unprocessed food is the foundation of health. Aim for foods as close to their natural state as possible. Again, this plant-forward diet, the 90% that we just mentioned on the previous slide, vegetables should be the most prominent thing on your plate. Okay, so Carol, 50% or more, can you do that?
Yes, I can. I do it now.
Okay. For the best gut health, it is recommended that we eat 30 different vegetables a week. Who knew that?
Oh my gosh.
Nope, didn't know that.
30?
30.
That's a lot.
You already just mentioned 6 in your salad.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a really good documentary on Netflix right now, and it's all about gut health. If you guys haven't seen it and you have Netflix, watch that documentary.
Okay.
What's the
Gonna look for it
documentary
now.
again? Put it in the chat.
Say again.
What's the name of the documentary?
I'll look it up and I'll get it to Japs, but it's gut. I know gut health is in the title.
Okay.
But if you search, if you search documentaries in gut health, you'll find it.
Okay, thank
We're
you.
looking for it
popular right
now.
now.
We'll let you know when we get it, okay?
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Pull it up. Thank you.
Teresa, just one question. I'm
Sure.
surprised that coconut oil is considered a healthy oil since it's so high in cholesterol. Or am I wrong on that?
Cholesterol in coconut oil?
Oh, I don't
Know
know.
that.
If it's not, I mean, depending on how it's.
I didn't know that was true. I don't know that to be I don't know that to be
It
true.
might not be true. Somebody told me that.
I have some, I'll look it up.
Yeah.
Depends on how it's made. Whether or not.
I personally don't use coconut oil,
Oh.
but that's not the reason why. I
Mhm.
just, long story short, and I won't go too deep in it, but I read this book about eating for your blood type,
Mhm.
and it
I did
recommended that I not use. But prior to reading that book, I did use coconut oil, but I don't anymore.
Okay.
Because it's not recommended for my blood type. But I digress. All right.
May I say something, Teresa, about the
absolutely.
coconut oil?
Yes.
I am looking at the biggest jar you've ever seen of coconut oil. And it has 13 grams of saturated fat.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's probably one of the reasons why it's not that recommended.
Is it pure coconut oil?
It is organic version coconut oil. I'll show you a picture of it.
Okay.
Can you see it? Hold on. I'm trying to hide, but
No,
oh,
we don't see
I
it.
can't see it.
It's
When
okay.
I get it,
It's
I'll
okay.
let you know.
I'm gonna take that one. I'll take that one away. And I'm
Okay.
gonna do some research on it. Coconut oil.
I'm
Saturated. I
guessing
know that
that
it is saturated because it hardens, right?
yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's great for popping
I'm guessing
popcorn.
that we're going to find something related to LDL, HDL, VLDL, something that it does for one of those is my
Yes.
guess.
That's absolutely right, Lisa. I agree.
It's going
I
to do
agree.
something to that. So it probably doesn't do overall cholesterol in the sense, but it must do something
To help.
that helps if you're going to use it. So we can look that up.
Yeah, we can look that up.
We can pause. James, if you know something about it, and James does physical exercise and nutrition too, nutritional health for his clients. So if he knows anything, put it in the chat, James.
Will do.
Okay.
Okay. So we talked about this in a few slides, previous slides, eating seasonally and sourcing it locally. In Virginia right now, the squash, leafy greens. I don't like fall or winter, but I love fall and winter foods. So leafy greens, apples, pears, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, celery, there's a whole bunch, right, that you can get locally.
Mm-hmm.
And
Teresa,
this is
before I forget, would you do a cooking class with us?
Absolutely, I would love to.
Okay. All right. Japs, put that on the calendar somewhere. I think this group would enjoy that.
Yeah, I would love to. So this is questionable. We'll see. There is a group of folks now who actually eat and cook without oil, so oil free. Because oils are questionable, like you guys brought up, right? So more to come on that. I'll do some research and reporting on oils in general. Okay, animal products. So if you're going to eat meat, you got to choose quality. It's always good to know where that animal is sourced, how it was raised, and where it's sourced from. If you shop at the regular grocery store, you don't know that.
That's right.
Right? So, but if you go to a farmer's market, you do know that. They will tell you, and you'll know that it's a local farmer, and you can find out if it's grass-fed and if it's finished. So a lot of labels and stuff and meats in the grocery store will say grass-fed, but
it's not.
they don't finish them on grass. So they might have spent their first 2 or 3 years in life on grass and then finished in the factory or wherever they do the meat. But be mindful of the type of meat you eat. And the reason I'm so hesitant about chicken, if you guys notice that, is because chicken is bad in the US. It's really bad. They literally pump it with so much if you buy it in the regular grocery store. So it's already bad for you before you even cook it. And most of us salt our meat, and chicken's already pumped with sodium. So you're adding extra salt to it. And that's a problem because we eat so much of it.
Yeah.
Fish and seafood, of course, should be wild caught, not farm raised, if you're going to eat it. So minimize the starches and the grains like rice, potatoes, or grains. Keep these to about 15% on your plate. Choose nutrient-dense options like sweet potato and quinoa. Choose natural sugars and use them sparingly. Be mindful that most conventional sugars come from GMO. Anybody knows what GMO is?
Modified.
Yeah, genetically modified organisms. Sugar beets, some good options. Raw local honey, if you can get it.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get it, I get mine at Good Foods Grocery. It's so good. Grade A maple syrup and coconut sugar.
There's that coconut.
There's coconut again. Now we're going to talk about some screenings. Any questions about food?
I do have questions about stevia, other things. Would you say go with honey over stevia? What are those thoughts? I'm unclear.
So I would say go for raw honey and grade A maple syrup over everything, and maybe molasses over everything else. Because and I said molasses when it's truly a byproduct. But you want to be as you want to eat unprocessed, right?
Yeah.
So stevia is a plant that's green, but the powder is white. So how is that, right? How does it get to white when it starts out as a green? Honestly, right? Now I use stevia. I mean, you as you live and you learn, you do better, right? As you know better, you do better. And so I used to use stevia, but then I stopped. I used monk fruit sugar as well. And then I stopped. But I generally stick to honey and maple syrup. Those are the two that I use. If I'm cooking, so this is my favorite time of the year to bake. So one of the things, well, this is I make carrot cake for Christmas, not for Thanksgiving, but I make it for Christmas and I don't use any sugar. So what I use is I take a whole fresh pineapple, okay? And I juice it. And then I cook the juice on top of the oven and it creates kind of a syrup. It's very sweet. I use that as my liquid in it. And when you juice, if you have a juicer, it creates pulp, right? I put that pulp in the cake to help also with the sweeting, making it sweet and to make it more nutrient dense, right? So no waste with that pineapple. I use it all. I do the same thing. So I use the pineapple juice to sweeten with, and I use the same thing. If I were making a lemon cake, I wouldn't put the pulp in there, but I would use the juice to sweeten it. And if I do use sugar, I use cane sugar to sweeten things with. I will put that in a pumpkin pie or sweet potato pie. If the recipe calls for 2 cups, I will use a half because the pumpkin is sweet the sweet potatoes are sweet, you really don't need that much sugar. And the key to this whole thing about nutrition is to love food for the taste of the food, not the sugar. It's a process, and I didn't get here overnight. Honestly, I didn't. It was a journey, just like Lisa said. I my When my husband was sick, I literally didn't know what to do, but I had to figure it out, right? And this was part of it, right? So I had to figure it out, and I did have some help. Once we got him diagnosed with being allergic to gluten, I joined a support group, and I've been off to the races ever since. But you have to learn to eat. You have to learn to enjoy the taste of food, right? You have to learn to bite into that carrot and taste all the flavor that is there. Carrots are so sweet. Celery even has a sweetness to it. It is so, if you just eat a piece of celery, um, um, bell pepper, just even collard greens. Like, has anybody ever had raw collard greens? Have you ever
Yes.
did into? Yes, it's so good. Have you ever used it as a wrap to create a sandwich? Oh my. I'm getting hungry thinking about it. You have to learn, to like the taste of food so we don't alter it with so many things like the sugar. And another thing, talking about learning something new, this week, I learned about how all of these seasonings and like the herbs and things that we do use, salt alternatives, have a lot of metal in them. I'm so disappointed. Like turmeric and ginger and garlic powder, all those things that I use so much of, they have, if you have to make sure you got the right brand. Who would have thought that there would be heavy metal in those things? So disappointing. All right. Any more questions? I'm going to move on to screenings.
Hold on one second. In
Yes.
honor of those who have to jump, we give permission because we say 6:30 to 7:15. We're going to continue. And if you need to leave us, it will be recorded. Okay. But Teresa, please continue.
Okay, here we go. Screenings. You got to monitor your blood glucose. And each one of these, I tell why, right? And how often. And you guys are going to get these slides. Kidney function is important to know if you're dealing with diabetes or prediabetes. You want to monitor your blood pressure. I think you mentioned it earlier, Lisa, in the intro. High blood pressure, what was it, the ABCs?
Yes.
Yeah, the high blood pressure is a major risk for heart disease, stroke, and kidney complications in diabetics. The cholesterol, it's important to know your numbers. You got to track it. Eye exams. It detects diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma, and cataracts early, preventing vision loss with prompt treatment. Foot exams, because of the circulation, poor circulation. And this one was new to me. I did not know this. Dental checkups. I mean, I never thought of it in terms of diabetics, but when I started researching this, I found that it is so important even for diabetics. And every 6 months, which is what we do, we get our teeth cleaned every 6 months. So continue with that. Neuropathy screening, do that annually. It detects peripheral and autonomic neuropathy, allowing for management to reduce discomfort and prevent further nerve damage. Heart health tests. You wanted to get the echocardiogram and bone density. You want to talk to your healthcare provider. If you have, if you're prone or if you have diabetes or you're pre-diabetic, you want to have a team. You need your regular doctor. You're going to need your endocrinologist, right, Lisa?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, endocrinologist. You're going to need a dietitian, and you would want to have a dietitian that might specialize in the type of diet that you need, right? And just to get started, because I think you will learn quickly about, what's going to be best for you and what's going to work for you. But build that team and that support team to help you, because there are stories out there. There are stories out there where people, without adding extra medicine, have overcome truly by changing their diet and going with at least a 90% plant-based. I've read in my research a lot of stories about that. It's possible. Keep the hope alive. And that's it. Any questions?
That's awesome. Thank you, Teresa. I hope there are questions. If not, opportunity. Oh, Carol, you're in the big screen.
Excuse me? I'm sorry.
Your picture is single focused.
Oh, am I talking?
I don't know. That's beautiful. Hi.
Oh my God, thank you.
But this was great. Teresa, please, everybody, ask any questions. I think this was excellent. Lot to learn about our health. I think that we have a challenge for this month, a call to action. And that call to action is maintain, don't gain. So when we come together each month, not just till January 1st, because we come together monthly, let's maintain, don't gain. And if you're trying to lose, gives you an opportunity to lose too. How you like that, team?
Fine.
Uh-oh.
We like it. We like it.
Like it.
It's a challenge.
Challenging.
I think that's great. I mean, a group supporting one another and trying to do similar things, be accountable. One thing you didn't talk about much, and maybe we all can, and maybe it's a time for another topic when we talk about the screenings with the hemoglobin A1C, et cetera, right? When we get into that discussion. What we didn't talk about is what makes you pre-diabetic and what that is and what those risks are. I mean, what your fasting glucose, your hemoglobin A1C between, I guess it's 5.4 and 6.9, something like that. We can look up the actual
I
numbers.
actually have it, right? I have my
little
little book here. I can look that up real quick.
And managing and looking at your whole metabolic profile, which includes that lipid panel, which looks at your cholesterol. So we're going to really talk about, our CMP panel, our CBC panel, all those more on a different call coming forward. But Alicia, are you on the call by chance? I don't think Cynthia joined tonight, our other nurse practitioner, but I don't want to be out of line in talking about what the normal range and all of that is, but I think that's about right for hemoglobin A1C, something like that. And exercise. The one thing we didn't also talk about, sleep.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not getting, and I'm guilty, 7 to 8 hours of sleep, change it. That's one of the easiest gifts I think we can try to give to ourselves, is going to bed, turning the technology off, and getting the rest that we need. And finding a way to do 15 to 20 minutes of some form of exercise if you're not doing any a day. Just some small little things. But Teresa, this was excellent and great. I'll be quiet if any others have questions.
I see a question in about sugar-free maple syrup. if you're gonna remember about whole unprocessed, so the syrup is, if you're gonna eat it, eat the whole, eat the regular, just do less, right? But don't, sugar-free is very processed because maple syrup is sweet. So that would be my suggestion. And like I think James mentioned, it's good when you, the thing is you want to have fat and or fiber that will help slow down the process of digestion with that sugar, right? So that's what I would say to that.
That's great. Thank you for sharing your slides too. That'll be great to have so that we can make reference of that. And we do want another, I think, recipes and learning how to do certain things, baking, etc., cooking. I've got to learn about those 30 vegetables a week. I got to figure out.
You probably, when you think about it, you're probably already doing it.
But different.
Yeah.
Different. I probably go to the same one. So
okay.
If anybody has vegetable choices, put them in the chat or whatever. James, come back and be with us, okay? And
It'll be my pleasure.
Okay, and if there's something you're motivated or passionate and want to share or talk about, that would be great too. And Teresa, we do appreciate you and we want you to continue to be a regular part of the conversation with your nutritional information and your passion for it. Now, talk to us about your own podcast and what you.
Okay, so I, along with my partner Lou Ali, we run a podcast called Earrings Off. And what we talk about, when you think about earrings off, in our community, is you're ready to do battle, right? You take your earrings off and you're gonna go fight for some cause, right? So with us, we're fighting for the community. We're providing information that's good for people. We talk about health and wellness. We talk about financial. We talk about education, and all those things that people in our community need to know. So you can find us wherever you listen to your podcast. We post something new every Sunday. We also write a blog on our website. It's earringsoff.com. And I tend to write mostly about health and nutrition related topics. Lou tends to write about a little bit of everything. She's more of a storyteller than me. I don't have I'm kind of I call myself the one trick pony, but you'll find I think some interesting things out there worth the read. I think they're worth the read.
Is there a link that we can put on here to reach where you are, or do we?
www.earringsoff.com.
Okay. Japs, would you please put that on the website for us? Is it acceptable? May we put it on this? Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. This is great. Thank you, everyone. Belinda, it was great to see you with the change in time and move over what you're in Denver, right? So good to see you. James, nice having you with us. It's good to see everybody else and some new faces. If there's anything we can do for any of you personally, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm going to ask if you'll say 6439, whose number is that? So Japs can make sure she reaches out to you with the survey. Phone number 6439. Can you come off mute? You're laughing at me, Charlotte.
I'm laughing at you, Lisa. How can we get these slides? I'm missing line dancing. How can we get these? Slides?
She will share them with Japs, and Japs will make them available she can send them out to the people that were actually on this call. That's why I like to know who's on it, so that everybody who gets an invitation to the meeting gets the information. But sometimes everybody isn't on a mailing list that we have, so we will do that. And don't forget, everyone, Charlotte, this is for all you Wednesday nighters. We move we move away from Wednesday next year to Tuesdays.
Great. That's great to know, because
Yeah.
again, that I'm a diabetic is the reason why I didn't go to line dancing. I came on here to listen to Teresa. So yes, it was very informative. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. This is great. We want to keep this conversation going. We want it to not be transactional, but sustainable. So if this is an important topic for diabetics and those who are pre-diabetic and those who have blood pressure issues, and it's all interrelated, we'll find a way to keep this conversation going. We don't have to keep moving on beyond it until we cover the things that are important to many of us, our family members, ourselves. So thank you all. Have a good evening. You know you are loved, you are valued, and now you are empowered. Share something with somebody else that you know, that you care about, and may not even care about, but want to help them do better themselves. Okay? You all take care. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.